Zechariah 11:5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Call halal Yahweh Bashan Awashai by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be unto the speckled bird among the heathen that look like the heathen, and to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And this is a video that, the elder brother Yakia sent to me. And I watched the video. And in this video, the elder apostle Tahar had did a response to, and he dropped my name. So, I took that as an order, even though he said if I felt, if the spirit was on me. But, it's funny how the scriptures say that, you should know your men. And, when you're the head of, and it's like, I really try to take an interest in my men, and it's kind of like you get to know what they like, their styles and the type of scriptures and the type of videos they like to do, and this is definitely up my alley. So so here I am following orders and doing a response that I probably would have done anyway if I had come across this video. But yeah, these people speak loftily concerning oppression, and they always talk about how appalling and how bad it was, but yet they are not trying to give back any of the wealth or land that they received from these acts. If you really truly were sincere, and they make these apologies, you would start giving back what you've taken unrighteously, what you've stolen. All right. So without any further ado, I don't really know this sister's name, but let's let her do what she does, So here we go.
The royals, they got into issues that I think maybe have ruffled their feathers. They talked a little bit about slavery, and they got a little rude awakening. So let's go ahead and listen first to the remarks from Prince William.
I strongly agree with my father, the Prince of Wales, who said in Barbados last year that the appalling atrocity of slavery forever stains our history. I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
Oh, it's interesting, since I know that whole British Empire was a huge participant when it came to slavery. So it's too bad we couldn't get an apology out of it. But let's go ahead and see what CNN had to say. They said that the Duke's remarks came a day after.
An apology is not enough. All right. That's not enough. And according to the Lord, they really have to play with their blood. But to start off, if you're sorry for doing such an atrocious act, an atrocious thing, for, like I said, they should have been giving back lands, monies, gold, property. That's the first way you're gonna make amends with someone that you've wronged. The first thing you have to do is you have to give them back what you took. I once heard one of the elders, I think it was Elder Taz, say that if he was giving an example once. He said if you stole a man's wallet, all right, and but yet then now you want that man to forgive you for what you've done, and you want to make amends, the first thing you'd have to do is give him back his wallet, and everything's in it. And if you really mean it, then you want to add some extra to it to show that you really are apologetic. And then we may even consider to, because now you got a matter of trust. It's like, bro, you stole from me, So these people, they say all these things to satisfy the camera, but yet their actions prove otherwise. All right? Because they got filthy rich off Jamaica and other places where Jake was, but yet they didn't give back anything that they took from these people.
A small group of anti-monarchy protesters gathered in the Jamaican capital of Kingston to demand an apology from Britain. Some chanted "Apology now, reparations now," while others carried posters and placards reading "Apologize and let's get current, let's get rid of the rule of the Queen." Here is a clip of some of those protesters.
Apologize Protesters demanding the British government pay reparations for slavery and apologize. Despite the protests, William and Kate were welcomed by many across Jamaica, the couple playing soccer and joining in as locals played the drums.
Yeah, but definitely don't let, that cute little, they were welcomed and they were.
No, they weren't. You always got the 2/3, man. You always do. But going back to that other thing, he's like with my father. No, man, this is I agree with my father, and that's what's happening with a lot of the young Edomites. They're catching the brunt of the wickedness that their forefathers did because we live in the information age. That's why they want to do this reset. And when this digital reset comes, they reset the internet as well. So videos like this, especially our videos, will not return. Our videos will be gone. All right, but guess what? All the bullshit lies and propaganda that people like Vocab, No Precepts Malone, James White, the Edomites, their videos will still be up. All right. But you best believe that our videos, and they may leave up some of those bootleg camp videos that's going off just so they could have something to point to prove, so they can try to justify their propaganda. So the famine of the word, all of that is upon us, man. So it's not going to be it's not only going to be a food famine, the famine of the word is coming because Charles Schwab made it very clear. All right, we know that the reset is nearby, and he said that there needs to be a reset of the internet too because of all the disinformation. So any truth that exposes their history and truth about them, they just deny it and call it propaganda. All right, but this is Sirach 41:7, and it says, "The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be a reproach for his sake," and that's what's happening. But what all this so-called white guilt now, all right? All the and they want to get rid of CRT, which is incorrectly. It should be called CRF, Critical Race Facts. All right. I have a whole channel which this video will go up on it, dedicated to that subject matter, and it will remain there until the Lord sees fit for it, because they can't take it down until the Lord allows it to be taken down. All right. So it's going to continue to be damaging to them. All right. And let me grab another quick scripture and then let her go. This is Isaiah 30:1. This is for those who were playing soccer with the prince, It says, Salakia, I was in Isaiah 1:30:1. And it reads, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves. In the strength of Pharaoh, they trust in the shadow of Egypt." So they were trusting in the prince and trusting in the shadow of Egypt instead of trusting in the Lord. So you're always going to have them. But hey, be thankful, brothers and sisters. I know it's that 2/3 irritate us, but it just makes those of us who are rehearsing the righteous acts to the best of our ability, it just makes our chances go up. All right. Because you got to remember that the 2/3 is a great number of Israelites. They far outnumber the elect, the 1/3. All right. So, and it's got to be 2/3. It's got to be the sellouts. It's got to be the coons. It's got to be the turncoats. It's got to be them that push false doctrine. All these things have to happen. And every time, and I would get angry when people are going off. But now, it's like, well, you know what? The water, brother, you just, you making my chances that much greater. So let those who go off go. Let them do what they're gonna do. But let's let her continue.
Embrace to fool you because, well, Jamaica let them know that it's not here for the Queen's rule anymore. When the Prince and Kate had met with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, he had this to say.
Jamaica is very free and liberal, but Jamaica is, as you would see, a country that is very proud of our history, very proud of what we have achieved, and we're moving on, and we intend to attain in short order with our people and fulfill our true ambitions and destiny as an independent, developed, prosperous country.
So basically, the prime minister said,
Yeah, that's right.
middle finger to you damn devils. We done with you and your damn queen. She's not our queen. She's your damn queen. All right. He said, that's your ugly ass grandmama. She ain't got nothing to do with us. All right. Because that is one atrocious woman. All right. And they're just, and as a matter of fact, they're just a bunch of peasants who are posers anyway. They are not the royals of Britain at all. Okay. At all. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Right. The prime minister just let Prince William know that they are going to be replacing Queen Elizabeth II as the head of state. Now, this would become the second country to cut ties with the Brits, as last November, Barbados became a republic and gave the Queen the boot. But let's talk a little bit about
the boot. Council culture on these Edomites, man. Bye. Red boy, get out. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Go.
what the British Empire did to Jamaica to get us here. This is per an academic, Michelle Limones, who authored the research paper, Devious Ingenuous British Colonialism in Jamaica. She said Jamaica was conquered by the British Empire basically 1655, and driven by an appetite for the accumulation of wealth. British colonialism was described as pure evil. It is evident that Jamaica's colonial model was a strategic art form that guaranteed domination, controls, and subjugation of the labor force using all forms of violence. In Jamaica, British colonialism created cultural identities of whiteness as superior and blackness as inferior.
Okay, now that whole identity of whiteness was actually created here on the mainland in America, but you get it, all right? And one thing's for sure is that slave owners in Americas were taking notes from the slave owners in the Caribbean, from Haiti to the Jamaica to Barbados and all those places. You know, there's a story about Tom Thistlewood that's actually in a book that I'm holding, who I claimed for slavery in the kingdom, who used to punish his slaves by tying them prone to the ground and having other slaves shit in their mouth. He did that to a slave who ate a piece of sugar cane or potato or something like that on the plantation. He got caught doing so as he was working. But you working a man to death. And also said that the average age, they worked them so hard in the islands that they were dying at 30 years old. So you know how hard you'd have to work? You know how strong Jake is? You used to work them to where they were dying at 30 years old. All right, just from back-breaking labor, making you pieces of shit, Edomites rich, and you want to say, well, we apologize. No, that's not enough.
Legitimized and reinforced this biased reality through nationalism and privilege of whiteness and alienating, repressing, and marginalizing blackness. Now, the British Empire would engage in a process of...
which are both made up. White and black are social constructs that they created and they still hide behind those lies today, identifying race through color, through whiteness, when all throughout the history of mankind, you identify through the seed of your father, regardless of what your skin looked like. All right. And the fact that there is no such thing as a white person or a black person. All right. The people are different shades of brown, and they would call those people black, from a very light brown to a very dark chocolate brown. And then you have the other people on the earth which are pale, who lack melanin, and they're more reddish pink in color. All right, because their blood shows forth through their skin. There is no such thing as white people. All right, they created that bullshit and they're hiding behind it, but there's felon. All right, they can't hide behind it anymore. Matter of fact, there's been that biggest covering, this whole white thing. And a lot of these other Edomites that gave up their made up heritages that they had to become white, and now that's failing them, because whiteness, the privilege of being white, is failing here in the West. All right, it's all about being an elitist, because you could be white all day long. All right, if you're not among the elites, and these Edomites here in America are beginning to see that. All right, and that's why they hate Amalek, the small hatter, so much, is because Amalek does control everything, and they left the rest of you so-called white people out. And even in their religion, they make mockery of your false white Jesus. All right, the Talmud is full of blasphemies and shots at the so-called Christianity and your white savior. All right. But yet you supported white superiority, so therefore you supported these small hatters, and now it's all backfired on you.
Whitening the Black Jamaican populace, and they do this through rape. And they essentially would produce mixed race children that they would enslave. So not only would they increase their slave population, but then they would use these children to reinforce the hierarchy where whiteness was desired.
Yep, and because they would treat the lighter complected people better. I've lived that and realized it. I had, I won't get too much into it, but I had an incident while I was in a bar, and I was getting all kinds of service. And my friends that were with me were all darker complected than I am, especially years ago. Now that I've gotten older, I've gotten a little darker. But when I was younger, I was a lot lighter than I am now. I always got people always spoke Spanish to me. I always got mistaken for being Ephraim. But he said, man, the only reason she doing this to us because we dark skinned. Because every time I went up to the bar, I got service, man. And they would go, up to the bar and they wouldn't get no service. And every time I went, I had no problem, man. All right. So, and it wasn't until, my friend's younger brother pointed it out to me and I was kind of in my sauce, but then I never forgot that. I was like, damn. Then I started observing it myself and I was like, you're right. Because, the place where we were, my guy, one of our guys that came up with us managed the place. That's one of the reasons why we hung out there so much. All right. Because we would go up there to kick it with him and we got, we really didn't pay for drinks. We just would tip the bartenders. We just hung out there but the bartenders took real good care of me, but they had issues with the rest of the swag. So, they do cause that division by treating the darker complected Jakes different from the lighter complected Jakes. And then all of a sudden Jake all into it with each other for that reason. All right. Because if you darker complected, you always watching these lighter complected people get treated better than you and you begin to despise them. So so Esau did that, man. He's a damn devil. And to show you how well it worked, this is page 123 from A Hidden Heroism. And this is a really good book. I got this book like the first, when I first woke up to the truth, man. This book is about a good 13, 14 years old, and I think I bought it for $7 in a Barnes and Noble off the clearance rack. But here on page 123, it says, there were even a few racially integrated bread lines and soup kitchens in the North where blacks were hit twice as hard as it hit whites, but blacks were often taken out of line and beaten by police for no reason apparently to the onlookers. But Jim Crowism, Jim Crowism was modeled after what was done in the islands, and then the Nazis modeled their suppression of the Jewish people or the small hatters in Nazi Germany based upon their studies of Jim Crowism. All right, so these Edomites have perfected oppression and suppression where they were, learning, taking lessons from one another. And it says, but Jim Crowism remained throughout the country, and although lynchings declined in number, they still took place. A black man lynched in Virginia in 1936 was burned to death, then hacked into hundreds of pieces by eager souvenir hunters. Even pieces of his bone were taken. After every particular ghastly lynching like this, and they happen all the time, picture postcards and mutilated bodies were made and widely sold. Let me see if I can pull up this video, man, because this is what they did, man. This is damn, I just clicked past it. I had too many things open. Let's see if I can go right to it. Yeah.
They would cut off the black woman's breast, scoop out all of the fatty tissue, and they would dry it and use her breast as a tobacco pouch. This is the white man. The white man. This was part of his practice. It wasn't one white man or two white men or a small bad apple group of white men. This was standard practice. that white men would walk around with the dried out remains of a black woman's breast full of tobacco. That was his tobacco pouch.
You see, so these people are just beyond wicked, man. Just beyond wicked. That's just one example, man. Let me see if I can find another one.
Do I have news for you?
It's called Who Were the
You ready?
Savages?
The gruesome history of eating corpses as medicine. This, my friend, is European history. But there's more. Oh, look. Europe's hypocritical history of cannibalism. And there is more. We ran out of mummies because Europeans ate them. And there is more. The Europeans that ate Egyptian mummies. And there is more. From the Daily Mail, Europeans indulged in cannibalism until the 1900s.
Until the 1900s. So guess what? They were eating their Negro slaves. And it was called a picnic, but I never realized, all right, I never in 1,000 years would have thought that I thought it was just because of pick a nigger. But the truth of the matter is they were actually eating Jacob, man. They were eating them. See if I can find her video. Slovakia. All right. Didn't find it there. Let's see if I can find it here. With this, I just did a video on it a couple days ago. With this young Edomite woman has been going in on this sort of behavior. Okay, I see her, but the one I'm looking for, I don't see. All right, because she goes in on, she starts talking about not only the lynchings, but she starts going in on the. Let's see if I can do it this way.
I want to thank this commenter and the hundreds.
Let me see if I can do it this way.